The enemy would love to convince you today that you've gone too far, that you've sinned too much, that you've messed up too bad, that God could never use you again. But I'm preaching today that when Jesus died on the cross, the veil or the curtain was torn in two, and there is mercy available for you. And after further review, God's grace is greater than your guilt. God's forgiveness is greater than your failure. God's mercy is greater than your mistake. And upon further review, rejoice not over me, O my enemies, for when I fall, I shall rise again, because God still sees me through mercy. Somebody shout mercy. Aren't you thankful for mercy? If you get in behind the curtain and the veil that the high priest would go behind, there was the mercy seat. And God said in Exodus 25, I will commune with you there. The word commune is the word from which we derive the word communicate. But it's interesting that when they arrested Jesus and took him to Pilate's judgment hall, he would not speak a word. Notice that if you come and approach him through mercy, you know, we need more Christians to get out of the judgment hall and get on the mercy seat with Jesus. And he will always be wanting to communicate to you if you approach him for mercy. When I think about mercy, I think about the fact that I should have been excluded. I should not be preaching. I've crossed too many lines. I've gone too far too many times, and I should be disqualified even from preaching the gospel. But thank God that there was one who went behind the veil, and he sees me through mercy. The Bible said goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life. And the Bible said in Lamentations 3 that his mercy is renewed every morning. What a blessing. The purpose of the replay booth is to make sure the call is correct on the field. And the purpose of God's mercy and grace is to make sure the call is correct on your life. That you don't get disqualified. That somebody can't disqualify you and critics can't. The Bible said in Romans 11:29 that the calling of God is irrevocable. That when God says something and God says this is how it is, it really doesn't matter what your critics have to say about it. When he goes behind the veil and it gets covered by the blood, then you see a different angle. God sees you and he sees what people cannot see in you. I'm thankful for that today, aren't you? Because some things are not as they appear. In John chapter 9, Jesus was passing by, and the Bible said there was a man blind from birth. And notice the immediate approach of the disciples. They were in the judgment hall instead of behind the veil, seeing from a different angle the mercy of God on somebody's life. And you know what they said? They said, Lord, why is this man blind? Did he sin or did his parents sin? And Jesus said, neither. I love how Jesus spoke to people like that. Neither. But this has happened that the works of God might be manifest. In other words, what he was saying was, don't you judge him. Don't you put him down because he's got a problem. 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 5 says, judge nothing before it's time. Judge nothing before it's time. And then it gives you when the time is. Wait until the Lord comes. So I just have made up my mind that there's some people I'm just not going to judge. I'm never going to give up on until the Lord comes back. And if you've got family members that aren't living right and acting crazy, don't you give up on them. Don't judge them before their time, because when the Lord comes, he's going to deal with them. And if you'll hold on to his promise, I'm just not going to give up on nobody. Don't write anybody off. They assumed that this man was blind because he was a sinner. And Jesus said it was neither, but that the works of God might be done. Work means employment. In other words, Jesus was saying, I've got him on a job interview, and I'm letting him go through what he's going through to build his resume, because I'm going to use the handicap and the pain and the sorrow and the difficulty and the disadvantage that he's been through. So don't you judge it before it's time. It may look like he's a loser. It may look like he's a failure. It may look like he's messed up. It may look like your son's on drugs. It may look like your daughter's gone way out there and never coming back. But don't you judge them before the time. The Lord's going to take care of it if you'll hold on. You just keep going behind the veil and seeing them through the blood.